Good morning, YouTube. My name is Bob, and I have a brand new channel that I'm starting. I'm going to call it Toothless Wanderings. And I hope that by watching this channel, people who are pre extraction, I'm hoping to educate you a little bit more about dentures because um, when I started my journey, I went on YouTube just like you are and looked at all the videos and how difficult is it, how painful is it, and being post-op now, I'm post E-day 10 days, so I'm still relatively in the healing process. And as you can tell, I'm not wearing my teeth. I did get immediate dentures, and I'm not wearing them. I'm trying to allow my gums to heal a little bit because I feel almost like every time I go in for an adjustment, once my gums start to shrink, if they keep widening um, the dentures to make room for my swollen gums, eventually I feel like the dentures are going to be too loose once I start the bone recession process in wearing dentures. And what I mean by bone recession is that your bone will literally shrink. Your ridges in your mouth will actually start to shrink along with your gums. And that is something that's not talked about, And these are little things that I want to bring up, maybe create videos about, and talk to you about, and the realities of dentures, and maybe because pre-denture, I had the option of going with a lower bridge. I had three healthy teeth that the dentist was going to basically put in a lower bridge, and I would have an upper denture, a full upper plate, is what he called it. I decided not to go that route because I felt that basically I have the money right now. Why don't we just do the full extractions? That way I avoid any uh, gum infections, later losing the teeth or the bridge itself failing later on down the road, maybe when I don't have the money. Um, so I decided, okay, let's just go this route. And I started doing my research on YouTube about dentures. And there are a lot of good channels out there, don't get me wrong, but they don't fill in the actual gaps of what you're going to experience. And it's kind of like um, it gave me almost a false sense. I want to say that I knew going into dentures they were going to hurt. There was going to be an adjustment period. There was going to be a healing process. Um, but I had no idea about being on a liquid diet for a month, 2 months, 3 months, having to eat soft foods, um, kind of the way other channels present it is like, oh, I went and got my teeth extracted, I got my immediate dentures, and I can eat anything I want. And that's not the truth, or really, it's not. In my case, let's put it that way, that's not my reality. Um, so I kind of want to make maybe a series of videos, like I say, that's directed at somebody who is pre-extraction. Um, Maybe look at some of your other options before just going full extractions. I've seen YouTube videos. There's a one young man on here who got all his upper extracted. He has an upper plate, and he's done a few videos. And he's very young. He's 20. And I've struggled with my teeth my entire life, pretty much. And a lot of my issues were not only poor hygiene, but being taught proper oral hygiene. And it's so funny because um, I think back, and none of the dentists that I went to see ever told me, you need to floss your teeth. Use a pre-rinsed mouthwash. Come in for dental cleanings. Um, the only thing they wanted when I came in is they do the exam. Okay, you got a bunch of fillings. We need to extract this. We need to do a root canal, and we need to do a deep cleaning, which means that they go under your gum to clean out plaque and so forth that's accumulated under the gum, is what they claim. And I'm I've been a type 2 diabetic for 24 years, and I know that some of my dental problems are associated with dry mouth, and that's very common with diabetes. And that's something that's not talked about. It was never talked with me, excuse me, at the dental office to say, hey, go get a dry mouth rinse. Make sure you're drinking a lot of water throughout the day. These are little tips that may have saved my teeth, um, considering that I'm 53 years old and I did make the choice to have all my teeth extracted, but I had, at this point in my life, a 70 to 80% bone loss on my teeth. So now I know I could have maybe went another 10 years and um, I might have been able to keep my natural teeth for that amount of time. But the issue for me was that I had a lot of broken teeth, and those were causing infections in my gums. And uh, what led up to this is I got a really bad infection. My face swelled up. I had to go in and get very strong antibiotics. And after that, at that point, it was recommended that I should get total tooth extraction. I talked to my wife about it. She was very gracious enough to give me the money because I retired 2 years ago from security. I've gotten so to the point to where it got to the point with my health that I could no longer do the job that I enjoyed doing. And it was becoming very stressful on me, causing other problems. I have metabolic disorder, basically. That's what the diabetes is, resistance to insulin. And, you know, I, looking back on my life, I'm probably very stubborn because I could have took care of the diabetes when I was talked to. But back then there was no internet. There was no Google that I could look up diets, and I'd have to go see a dietitian, and I couldn't afford that. I didn't have insurance for it, and just continued with my lifestyle the way it was, which led to type 2 diabetes. Uh, Not having good oral hygiene. I would brush my teeth twice a day, but I didn't floss. I didn't floss at all. When I did floss, it would hurt. And going through this process, I realized, had I simply flossed, it could have prevented a lot of what I've prevented what's current me having dentures, basically. Let's put it in a nutshell. So, I am going to advocate if you are pre immediate dentures or thinking about getting immediate dentures and full extractions, either upper or lower, look at your options. Go in for a dental cleaning. Talk to your dentist. Don't take they're going to make a series of recommendations. Oh, you could do this, you can do this, or you can go this route, and or you can go the denture route. Essentially, were my two choices. You need full extractions, basically, is what I was being told, and I should have went and got a second opinion. I realized at this point, because there might have been a different option for me. And I know back when I was in my early, maybe late 20s, early 30s, this full extractions were recommended at that point by a dentist that I had seen. And I almost went through with it. And when I went to see the surgeon because the tooth broke off, um, and I had to have a surgical extraction at that time, the surgeon actually looked at my teeth. He had such a hard time getting out the tooth that he had to extract because it was broken off. He literally broke the bone getting it out. He stopped, looked at my X-rays, and turned around, asked me, and said, "Are you getting full extractions? You're going to extract all your teeth." And I said, "Well, yeah, that's the plan." He said, "Hang on." He went out, talked to somebody, came back about 10 minutes later, said, "You're done. Go ahead. Go ahead and go home." Now I'm 53, so about, I'm guessing 24, 23, 24 years I've lived with um, my natural teeth. And um, my wife will complain about my bad breath and all that. And I think that was due um, a lot to do with my oral hygiene, not necessarily my rotten teeth. And I wish I would have um, kind of in hindsight looked at, maybe went to another dentist and say, "Hey, this is what's being recommended. Do you agree with that?" And just pay out of pocket for the consultation, and before actually going through this. And I'm not saying anything bad about the dentist that treated me. There were actually two dentists that I just recently found out at the office that were making the recommendation for full extractions. And maybe down the line, I'm going to look back at this and look back at this video and go, "Oh, you're just full of it. This was the best decision you ever made in your life. You're much healthier. Your diabetes is under control. God knows what's going to happen." Okay. So I don't want to give anybody, uh, any misleading information or mislead you. I'm just saying if you're going to go full extractions or partial extractions, upper plate, lower plate, look at your options first. Okay? See, is there a way for me to save my natural teeth, even if that's you get another 5, 10 years, 15, 20 years out of the teeth that you have. The problem is, and nobody's talked about this, the lower plate is very painful. It's hard to, they're usually loose, and some people say use denture fit, use adhesive. I haven't gotten to that point yet, but the plate will, especially with my ridge line. My ridge line, my bone hasn't recessed yet. So I'm not sure if at some point my bone's going to recess and that plate will fit perfectly in there. I don't know. I might have to use denture fit or soft reline, something to that. I'm sure that's going to be what's going to be needed for my lower plate at some point. And I know there's one gentleman out there, your favorite denture wearer, he doesn't put anything in his lower plate, but he's 6 years out. He had his bones ground down and I forget exactly the term he used, but he had his bones reshaped when he had his full extractions. So he doesn't have much of a ridge line, and it sounds to me like his plate pretty much sits in his mouth comfortably. He doesn't use anything in his lower plate, and but with mine, my bites off. Um, the plate wobbles in my mouth. When I go to bite down, it one side pops up, and I know those are all just I need adjustments, and I know those are adjustments that need to be done to my immediate dentures. But like I said, I kind of want to wait until the healing process is a little bit long, a little bit farther along, because some of the denturists that I go see, especially this last one, the first one I saw the second day, 24 hours after my extractions, she was awesome. And I wish I would have got her name. She was absolutely awesome. She adjusted my teeth, my dentures, excuse me. They felt so good in my mouth. I didn't have I had a couple pressure points, um, but they weren't that bad. She had somehow ground those down a little bit so they weren't pinching as much. She got my bite really well, good. And then about a week later, I came back and I saw another denturist, and she just seemed like, in solely in my opinion, like she doesn't like her job. She was very impatient and, well, let me whiten this, let me do this. She didn't really take the time to listen to what I was telling her. And somebody's who has expertise, who's adjusting your dentures, who can cause you pain, that's the last person I want to piss off, and yell at. So I just said, okay, she got them to where they were comfortable. And I went and ran some errands. And before I got home, my dentures started hurt, my gums and my ridge line started hurting again. And all I wanted to do was rip those dentures out of my mouth because they were hurting so much. And yeah, I came straight home, took them out, cleaned them, put them in a bath, and that's where they've sat for the last, I want to say, 4 days. And I haven't wore them. I've just been having my little liquid diet, and I'd like to go through some of that with you, explain that. Maybe in another video. I don't want this one to go too long, but yeah, that's kind of where I'm headed with my channel. Is I want to talk to those people who are pre-op, and maybe some of you who are post who shared the same experience as me. I don't think I'm unique in any way. Um, and I just want to put my truth out there, my denture adventure, as everybody calls it. This is my denture adventure. This is my experience with my immediate dentures. And I want to be raw and honest with everybody. I want to sit there and be like, oh, look at my pretty teeth, because that's not the case. I do love the way my dentures look. I don't like the way they feel um, right now. And like I said, I'm still very early on in the healing process, and that may change over time. But I have some ideas for some uh, videos that nobody's talking about on YouTube in relation to dentures. And I kind of want to tailor my channel towards that, um, and go from there, and see how this develops. If there's an interest in it, I'll continue making videos. If there's not, and I don't get that many views, I may just go ahead and cancel the entire channel. I'm not doing this to make money. If that somehow happens with this, that's great. That'll just kind of spur me on to make more videos, I guess. And but I wanted to be honest. I want someone to know an honest opinion about immediate dentures, not um, and like I say, it's my story. So I'm not going to discount anybody else's experience with their immediate dentures. They could have got them. They fit perfectly. They love them. They love the look. They don't have any pain. Unfortunately, that wasn't my experience. I take that back. I didn't really experience a lot of pain. I went and got an IV sedation. The procedure went very well. I had minimal bleeding. Most people said they bled for 4 hours. And I came out, I had some minimal bleeding for about, I want to say about 2 hours, and it stopped. I had some oozing after that for maybe a couple more hours. I didn't. It was I think off and on relatively throughout the night because once I came out of anesthesia, basically I came home and I slept for 24 hours. You know, I woke up at 3 a.m. hungry. I had a applesauce, which I that will probably be one of my next videos that I'll be talking about how difficult it was to eat with dentures in. And I never thought about it, but everybody talks about eating with your dentures in. You're supposed to wear them 24 hours. At least my dentist wanted me to wear them for the first 24 hours. Then I went in, got my first adjustment, dentures back in, and I wore them most of the second day, and I wore them about half a day on the third day because they just started my no, I no, my third day was my gums were swollen the most. So they did hurt towards the end of the evening. I think I took them out about 3/4 of the day, a little bit earlier than I did the second day. And yeah, and I want to talk about seeing yourself for the first time without teeth. That's something that nobody talks about. I'm almost passed out. And it's not vanity at all, not at all. I'm gotten used to seeing myself without dentures, and that's kind of the reason why I'm doing this without teeth. Because like I said, I want to be just raw and honest. This is my journey. I want to share it with you. Um, so let me know what you think. If you have any comments or um, I kind of have a set of ideas for videos that I'm going to go ahead and try and put out there. I might do this. I'm thinking initially one per week, uh, depending on how it goes. If there's a lot of interest, I may do a couple videos um, per week. Just depends. I'm going to see how, like I said, how much of an interest in uh, is shown basically with this. So if you will do me a favor and just hit the like button down below and maybe subscribe, that way once I post the video up, you'll be the first to see it, and you can comment and give me some ideas on maybe what direction I should go in. Am I going in the right direction? Is this too raw? Too, you know, so forth. Kind of just like a review, I guess, of my videos, and let me know Like I said, if you have an interest in it, like I said, I'm 10 days as of today. Now I'm going to go ahead and post up this video um, post extraction, so I'm very much in the healing process. And I'd kind of like to take everybody on a journey, my journey with me, um, through my healing process and how eventually maybe, like I said, 6 months. I believe it's after about 9 months they're going to do my hard reline on my immediate dentures. And that's also the other thing is, let me put out there is, uh, it seems like all the videos talk about, oh, are you, if you're, you have your immediate dentures, your intermediate, and then your permanent dentures. Well, I found out from my dentist there's actually one set of dentures that you get. And they do warranty my dentures. My dentist warranties them for 3 years. So basically, I got my immediate dentures. What's going to happen is, uh, on set periods of time, they're going to do a soft reline on them. The denture is set after about 9 months, depending on my healing process and where I'm at in my healing. They'll do what's called a hard reline. And at that point, my dentures will be sent out to a lab. They'll take impressions on my ridge lines at that point. They're going to send that out to a lab, and then they'll do a hard reline, which is going to make my immediate dentures my permanent dentures. And I will have these dentures for up to 3 years, depending on if whether I break them or um, what happens with them, or whether they wear out or so forth. And there's lots of videos out there on how to take care of your dentures and how to clean them, how to properly store them, and so forth. So I'm not going to really focus on that and showing you how I clean my dentures and all that. But you only get one set of dentures, at least from my dentist. As I get one set of dentures. I get my immediates, and that's what I have until I buy new ones. And a set of new ones can be $2,000 to $3,000 just for one plate. Um, I'll talk a little bit about the cost probably in my next video, um, with regards to the dentures and how much they cost, how much the procedure was, the overall cost, and kind of I want to cover kind of what's built into um, what you get for what you're paying for, basically. And so, anyway, I am going to sign off here. I hope you have an interest in my videos or maybe looking at my series of videos. Like I said, if you can drop me a like or leave me a comment and maybe subscribe, that would be awesome for me. And so, take care, YouTube. Be well and floss them if you got them. Take care.